legacy development.
Yes.
Let's just jump right into it. So you are now the CEO and co-founder of Legacy Development. Tell me
Yes.
how you started. Why did you? I mean, there's the obvious question: everybody wants to start their own company, have ownership, etc. I get that, but why specifically did Jerrod start his own development company? And I think I already know your answer, but I want to hear it from you.
Yeah, I mean, what I learned when I was at Carthage is that entrepreneurship is really the lane that I enjoy being in. And if you look at the couple of jobs I had before that, like I was at smaller entrepreneurial shops. And like I'm comfortable in that environment and I kind of thrive in that environment. I'm not saying everybody can or should, but that's just for me personally. That was my trajectory and that's what I enjoyed. And the men and women I saw doing that, like I aspired to that. So like Dewana Williams, Sean Bell, Rob Horsford, all these folks I was seeing, I was like, yeah, like I want to do it like that. Like the way, like Sean owns his own real estate development company and then drives a Tesla and he travels around the world. I want to do it that way. And I'm not saying everybody could or should do it that way, but like that's for me kind of going through my paces. I was like, I want to do it that way. I want to be an entrepreneurial real estate developer that I'll do good things and I provide a pretty decent life for myself. And Ed once kind of half jokingly, but kind of serious said to me, he doesn't know a lot of guys and girls that stay in this business a long time and end up with no money. He's like, if you could figure out how to stay in the game, usually things pan out for you. You get some equity, right? That will grow over time. And they enjoyed a wildly successful growth in Harlem. But he was like, yeah, like if you could get in the game and figure out how to stay in the game as an entrepreneur, you'll probably be okay. So I've been on that path. So fast forward when I was spinning off from Carthage, just reaching out to a lot of folks and let them know. Me and Donahue Peoples III, we've been looking at deals at that point for a couple years. We looked at a few things, maybe put an offer in one or two things. But we seemed to get along well. I always felt like we got along well. And when the time was right, we were like, what if we like set up a vehicle where we like go after deals together? And we were talking to a few folks and we were like, like let's do this. How about we? And at that point, we were talking almost 5 days a week. And we were like, maybe we should just like go into business together and like do deals together, like on an ongoing basis across the board. So me, him, and his father had a very long conversation, brainstorming session. And the result of that is our setup at Legacy, where we're focused on doing housing development across the country, doing mostly affordable, because that's my background, right? That's a benefit I bring to the table, but also workforce housing, right? And also market rate housing, because as we all know, this housing crisis is on multiple tiers, right? We're not building enough single family homes. We're not building enough home ownership. We're not building enough affordable housing. We're not building enough housing for teachers, cops, and firemen. It's kind of all of the above, is at a deficit for the supply. And in the foreseeable future, we're not building enough to keep up with either of those. So that's kind of the space where we're looking to thrive.
Where'd you get the name Legacy from?
Legacy. So two things. So Donahue came up with the name initially, and obviously because he's second generation developer. And then I actually loved it because in fraternity life, legacy is if you're a second generation in a fraternity or sorority. So for that, we had actually a couple other names that we kind of floated out there too, but that's what stuck.
Okay, I'm sure you landed on that's one. So then, all right, so Legacy Development. So I recently saw that you all have closed or developed your first property.
Yes.
Okay, and that's in DC.
Yes.
Okay, so that was, I'm sure, how long did the process take from start to finish to get that property, executed?
Oh man, by the time me and Donahue got together, he had been working on that already 3 years. Wow. And it took another 2 years to get done. So, we have development's a long game, man. And I learned this years ago, like people work in like brokerage, there's these kind of quick hits you get all the time. Whereas developers, we're like these big old whales. It's just really slow, really long to do the thing that we're looking to do. So like each project takes 3 to 7 years to get done.
That's crazy.
Each one. And if you do it well, you get paid something in the meantime. But many times you don't. Many times you're just putting money out for a couple of years until you get it built, leased, and profitable to start taking money out of it. Yeah, so that was one that Donahue had secured the site, brought in a big nonprofit named NHP Foundation. They're a fantastic, nonprofit developer. We're looking at some other future opportunities with them. They're great. They have great, robust programs. And in the affordable housing space, I spent most of my time working with nonprofit organizations, faith-based organizations. Many of them have a mission. Lots of them have site control or have land, but they don't necessarily have the money or resources or network to actually get the development deal done. So that's kind of a benefit that we bring to the table.
And I can imagine you all have a pipeline. You don't have to go into details about your pipeline, but I can imagine you're growing.
Yeah, man, we are active, man. So DC is one of our focuses. Obviously Don Peebles, the second, started his business there almost 40 years ago. So lots of relationships there, lots of history in the city. It's neat. We went there for the ribbon cutting a couple months ago, and like while we're at dinner, he's like pointing like, "Oh yeah, such and such on this site across the street, and the site next door. I talked to this seller XYZ year." Like it was really cool. So DC, we're very big on it. It is Chocolate City, and economically, it has super high paying jobs and high barrier of entry. So it's definitely somewhere we're focused, and it's definitely not building enough housing. But we're also focused on South Florida. Obviously I'm from there, but Donahue Peoples III, he's based there. We have a couple employees that work down there too. So we have boots on the ground in South Florida. So we are motivated in a market that, Florida's got its own issues going on, but South Florida is definitely at a housing deficit. So we're focused on building in South Florida, doing some development deals in South Florida, some public-private projects, some just straight up private projects. Also Atlanta, also in Massachusetts, and of course, New York.
Wow, you guys are all across the Eastern Seaboard. That's amazing.
We are, man. We are, all those places I just listed have a housing shortage, right?
Yeah,
we need it. And most of them have diverse developers that could utilize partners, that could utilize help. So, we are very, very bullish on the idea of working with local partners. They have site control, they have opportunity. Maybe they run a nonprofit. They want to do affordable housing. They don't necessarily know how to do it. They don't know how to run through that 3 to 7 year process, right? Yeah. From securing the capital, getting agency approvals, getting plans approved, getting a GC lined up. Like that is some work, man. That's some work. And we're kind of set up to do that work. So,
and I just want, while we're having this discussion, let's shout out, Don Peebles II and Don Peebles III. Yes. Both of them are doing, big things in the industry for years, and he's leading the charge when it comes to affirmation building that they're getting ready to build, as well as just his leadership in the D&I space within the commercial real estate industry and what he's doing for young Black developers, the next generation, his son, as well as the ones behind him or in line, or as his son's colleagues. So I'm glad you're a part of that extension, that family. That's an amazing endeavor. All the way as a Florida boy from Dade County, with big dreams, an architect family. You said, I'm gonna do this thing in New York City, and man, look at you now, brother. Who would have thought? But I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah, never guessed.